What is up, Posse people? Frank here. You're watching the Super Posse Show, and good golly gosh, we've got a lot to talk about today. So let's jump right into it. The first thing I want to talk about today is Pirates of the Caribbean 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Now you're probably wondering, Frank, what do you mean 5? Yeah, there actually was a fourth Pirates of the Caribbean called On Stranger Tides that no one really knows about or remembers because it was pretty bad. Actually, right now, it's sitting at a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, needless to say, kind of embarrassing. Anyways, all that aside, Disney released a teaser trailer for this movie just yesterday, and from the very short snippet that we get in this trailer, I gotta say, I'm surprisingly intrigued. Granted, there's so little content in this trailer that it really doesn't speak anything for the quality of the movie, but it does pose some interesting questions. So, based on the description I read on the Disney Movie Trailers YouTube, it seems like Captain Jack Sparrow is back, which is not really surprising despite the fact he's not really present in this trailer at all. But the most intriguing thing is the kid that they focus on in the trailer. I'll put the link to the trailer in the description down below, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what happens as we go throughout this video. So the trailer opens up on this English ship floating through the ocean, sailing into this very misty cave. When all of a sudden these sailors start dying, you see pirates, presumably, hopping onto the ship and slowly killing off the entire crew. Then you see this larger pirate who is revealed to be the captain of the ship, Captain Salazar, who's a new character in the Pirates of the Caribbean universe, kind of walking across the ship going down into the brig. Once he arrives at the brig, the camera centers around a teenage boy. This is where things get interesting. So based on what I've read, this character's name is Henry, and the rumor is that this is William Turner and Elizabeth Swann's son. So I'm very interested in seeing how he plays into the overarching storyline of this movie. Granted, Johnny Depp, I'm sure, will get plenty of screen time as Captain Jack Sparrow. I'm really interested in seeing what they do with this kid and how they tie him into the story because it does look like he's going to have a central role in what happens in this movie. The pirates themselves look really cool. They're undead. Some of them are missing parts of their faces, body parts, whatever. So it's your typical Pirates of the Caribbean undead ghost pirates. But they do look a little bit cooler than the original ones, in my opinion, although I don't have particularly high hopes for this movie since the last one was so forgettable that most people actually forgot that it existed. I am still going to have my eye out for this one because I think it has the potential to be a really cool movie. In other news, Jeff Keighley, who's a very prominent voice in the gaming community, spoke about No Man's Sky on his show Live with YouTube Gaming. So Jeff spent the last 15 minutes of his show talking about No Man's Sky, aka the most disappointing game of the year, aka the game whose release was so embarrassing that all the developers straight up fell off the face of the earth and went into hiding, aka the game that was so disappointing it's actually under investigation by a gaming body in the United Kingdom for misleading marketing, which is apparently a very bad thing in the UK. I think the most interesting thing that Jeff Keighley said about this game, however, is that he's been in contact with Sean Murray, and Sean's actually open to being on a show and talking about what went wrong with the game sometime this October. Now, this is a big deal because the No Man's Sky developers at Hello Games have basically been in hiding this entire time. The developers have had very little interaction with the gaming community. Now, if Sean were to actually take Jeff up on this offer and show up on this show sometime in October, this would be one of the first times we've heard from him since the game was released. I personally am very interested in seeing what he has to say. Obviously, the game was a failure. The finished product was nowhere near what people were expecting. The finished product wasn't even anywhere near what Sean was leading us to believe the game would be like in the first place. So, needless to say, a lot of people feel cheated. A lot of people feel like they wasted money, and I personally want to hear what Sean has to say about it. I understand they are working on updates for the game, and eventually, hopefully, it will get to the standard that was set initially, but to set that bar so high and then consciously release the game underneath that bar was just not a good move. But I do want to at least hear the guy out and see what went wrong, because maybe he has a legitimate excuse for it. I doubt it, but I'm willing to listen and hear him out. So stay tuned for that, guys. I'll put the link in the description down below for the article where I got this information from, as well as the video where Jeff talks about No Man's Sky, which is the channel you're going to want to follow if you want to see this interview later on in the future whenever it comes to be. The final thing I want to talk about in this video real quick is that Ben Affleck's Batman movie has officially gotten a title, and it is the most exciting, brilliant, complex, innovative, creative title I have heard in my entire life. It is called, drumroll please, The Batman. I know. What a brilliant title. Now I am just giving Ben Affleck a hard time. I'm sure the movie will be fine. Batman vs. Superman was alright, and I can't imagine this movie will be much worse. I mean, it's a Batman movie, so it's going to be at least mildly interesting. I've come to terms with the fact that no Batman movie will ever live up to the standards of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, but I'm a huge Batman fan, so I'm sure even if it's complete garbage, I'll at least kind of enjoy it. That being said, hopefully it's a good movie. We'll see what happens. Another piece of information that they released along with this new title is the fact that the movie could be out as early as a year and a half from now, which means it could come out in 2018, which is actually a complete year earlier than the expected release date up until this point. So, at the very least, we'll be getting the movie sooner rather than later, which if it's a good movie is great news. Even if it's a bad movie, then hey, at least we get it out of the way sooner rather than later. That's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you found some of this information interesting. Of course, as always, I'm going to leave the links to all of my sources down below so you can check them for yourself. Are you excited about the new Batman movie? How much do you hate No Man's Sky? Do you hate No Man's Sky? Will you go see the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie? Did you know that there was a fourth Pirates of the Caribbean movie? So many questions today. Feel free to answer any of these down below. I love to read what you guys have to say. That's all I got, guys, so thanks for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, feel free to like and subscribe. Follow me on social media as well. I've got tons of stuff listed down below. And as always, guys, stay posy. See y'all later.